This video is based off of an Easter egg from the game Doki Doki Literature Club, written by Dan Salvato. Check the description box below for links to the full note from the game, as well as more information about Doki Doki. Thank you. If you found this note in a small box, then congratulations. You are probably the first person to read this. I didn't really plan on sharing this with anybody, but for some reason, I think it's exciting that somebody out there, a complete stranger, will come across this note and read my story. I'm sorry if this is a little disorganized. I'd just like to get it down while it's still on my mind. I'm a first-year college girl, and have led, by most standards, a pretty unspectacular life up to this point. I grew up in an upper-middle-class family. I had good teachers at school. I did track in middle school and some of high school, and I've had 2 boyfriends. I'm giving you this background because there's this strange misconception that if you want to kill someone, you're either sick in the head or you have anger management issues. But it's very apparent that I don't fall into either of those categories. Some people kill because in that brief moment, they want a specific someone for a specific reason to be hurt or killed. What I'm talking about is wanting to kill someone for no specific reason. Maybe just to see what it's like. Do you ever get that? I wouldn't know how others feel, because it's not something I ever talked about. But I've been curious about what it's like to kill someone ever since I was a child. Not killing anyone in particular, just a random person. It's always just fascinated me that if I put my mind to it, I can approach anyone, and in 5 minutes, they would be completely gone from this earth. But I've never done so for a couple of reasons. First of all, for most of my life, it was logistically impossible for me to do it without getting caught. It was only once I started college that I realized this was no longer an obstacle. I was also just afraid of causing harm to too many people. You might laugh at reading that, how hypocritical it sounds, but let me explain. Why would I feel bad about killing someone if they're too dead to care? Who would I be feeling bad for? Contrarily, it's the grief of the living I'd rather not be responsible for. Because of this, I knew it would take a good deal of research before finding a suitable person to kill. And I've never had the means to do so, again, until I started college. And now, having just experienced it, I'd say it was pretty satisfying in the end. Something I would try again? Probably not, since my curiosity has already been satisfied. It really wouldn't be the same a second time. But anyway, if any chance you're also curious to kill someone, then you're welcome to take notes. Smiley face. I started a hobby of people watching soon after I entered college. People watching is interesting to me because it's taking one of the infinite extras in your life and turning them into a main character, without them knowing, of course. It's so easy to forget that every single one of the hundreds of strangers you pass by every day has a life story as deep and complex as your own. I usually went to grocery stores on weekends and looked around.
Hello, ma'am. Can I help you today? No, thank you. Hmm.
If I saw something that interested me, I decided to observe the person for a little bit. Of course, since my goal was to find someone to kill, I ruled out anyone who had children or a partner with them. Wedding rings were another telltale sign.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you, sweetie.
So maybe once a weekend, I would find someone who fit my criteria. At which point, I would follow them home and note their address. From there, it became incredibly easy to investigate a little bit more. Most people have normal work hours, meaning I could spend afternoons going through their mail or looking around their house.
I like this couch.
I repeated this with several people,
I wonder if she's into photography.
and had one close call.
Shit.
But for varying reasons, I didn't really feel satisfied enough with them to kill any of them. I started getting a bit impatient and thought I might have to settle. But then I came across someone new. Someone who just felt perfect. The feeling only strengthened as I investigated her further, and I knew that she would be the one for me to kill. A young-looking woman I met at the grocery store, as per usual. She was doing some light shopping.
Hi, can I help you find anything today? No, thank you.
This woman just seemed so plain, really.
You're having a sale on fish? Why is it bad? No, ma'am. Just overstock.
I guess I felt a greater acuity for the personal lives of strangers ever since I started my people watching. With the way she carried herself, I just got the feeling that if she suddenly died, nobody would be around to miss her.
Enjoy your fish.
Of course, I still wanted to investigate her a bit. I learned immediately from her mail that her name is Linda Watson. Linda lived in a quiet apartment complex, her mailbox easily accessible right outside her door. Instead of quickly shuffling through it, I decided I could take her mail back to my dorm and return it before she was finished with work. I did some research and learned how to open and reseal the envelopes without damaging them. which took some technique along with the hairdryer, rubbing alcohol, and Q-tips. This made it easy for me to learn a little more about her. Linda was a 33-year-old woman who worked for a small accounting firm. I'd rather not say the name of the place outright. Her birthday was December 11th, which, coincidentally, was approaching in a couple weeks. I also managed to find a bank statement that gave me a nice look into how she's been spending her past month. It was at this point I realized that my assessment of Linda Watson as an extremely plain woman was pretty spot on, because there was absolutely nothing interesting on that list. A trip to Old Navy, a bunch of Starbucks, something about $40 from Amazon, no restaurants, no movies, nothing that would really imply she was spending any time socializing. That aside, I also found a cooking magazine, so I guess she was into that. Apartments are harder to break into than suburban homes, because there are fewer doors and windows.
Damn it.
Every time I got Linda's mail, I would check the front door and the windows in the back, but they were always locked.
Fuck.
It was a bit frustrating because I was really interested in getting into her house. So I came up with a sort of plan that I thought would be fun, even if it didn't work. Last Saturday, I visited Linda Watson's apartment complex, as I would on weekdays. The difference is that this time, I wanted her to be home. I thought it would be interesting to have a conversation with her. So I walked up to her door, and I knocked. The adrenaline rush was crazy. I was afraid I might screw something up. The door opened, and in front of me stood Linda Watson, exactly as I remembered her from the grocery store. It was at that moment, making eye contact for the first time, that I realized I was running the risk of beginning to care about this person. As selfish as it is, I couldn't kill a person I cared about, even if it's a 33-year-old woman standing in a doorway with a slightly perplexed look on her face, giving me a reserved,
Hello?
I shyly returned Linda's greeting
Hi. Sorry, I don't want to bother you.
and explained,
I was walking my cricket along the tree line behind your apartment complex. You know, you have like a little woods back there. And she got off the leash. I just can't seem to find her. I've been looking for an hour. Have you seen any crickets around? Oh, sorry about that. No, I haven't seen any crickets. Uh, sorry I can't really be of any use to you. But I'll, keep an eye out. Damn. Well, sorry for troubling you at all. Really, it's no problem at all. If you'd like, you can come in and warm up. I can, make us a pot of coffee. I don't know. I really wouldn't want to bother you anymore. But, if you're offering, I could really get out of the cold. Thank you. No problem. Come on in. Go ahead and take a seat.
and that's how Linda Watson ended up with a 19-year-old girl next to her on the couch. Who knows if it was just a nice gesture, or if she really has no better way to spend her Saturdays.
So, what's your name? Maria.
It's not.
Are you in school, Maria? Yeah, I attend LPC, the, community college just down the road.
I don't.
I went there for a little bit in my early 20s. My name's Linda, by the way. Thank you so much for this. Really, Linda. I appreciate it. What do you do? Oh, I work at an accounting firm. I really just do miscellaneous work, communicating with outside clients and keeping records. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. Sounds like you kind of got it all together. I don't know, I'm nervous about growing up. It's really not so bad. Movies make it seem so much worse. Just enjoy the time you have in college. Try to make lots of friends, because You don't have as many opportunities once you start working a full-time job. Are you married or anything? Yeah, no. I honestly don't even currently have a boyfriend. Oh, do you ever plan on starting a family? Do you have kids or anything? I'm not interested in having any until I get a better job. My family also has some genetic conditions, arthritis, depression, and I don't really want to pass that along. Do you mind if I go use your restroom? Oh, no, that's fine. It's just at the end of that hall down there. Thank you.
It was funny that she mentioned that, because when I asked her to use her bathroom, I noticed a tube of prescription pills on the sink. It was labeled duloxetine, which I looked up later and discovered that it is, in fact, an antidepressant. I had a joking thought that maybe by killing her I'd be doing her a favor, but quickly decided I was a terrible person for coming up with that. The rest of our visit was pretty dull. We talked about food and some other mundane stuff before I eventually made an excuse to leave.
Well, I should probably get going. I have an exam due tomorrow and I really need to study. I also have to go find this cricket. Alrighty. Well, good luck on your exam and I hope you're able to find your cricket. Thank you.
After that visit, I didn't really feel the need to go through her apartment anymore. As early as the drive back to my dorm, I was already thinking about how I would best like to kill Linda Watson. The choice was between effectiveness and fun. I decided to go with fun because it would be way more satisfying to just kind of dissect her as I killed her, rather than just getting it done and calling it a day. Fast forward 1 week to December 13th. Today, actually. Linda Watson turned 34 2 days ago, and I made a fun little wager with myself where if Linda was spending her birthday weekend alone, I would pay her a visit and kill her. If she was out or had company, I would stop by next week or something instead.
Yes, ma'am. The axes are down here. Thank you. Yep, no problem. If you need any more help, just come find me.
The drive after getting the axe was when the adrenaline really started picking up. All that kept going through my mind on the way over there was, wow, I'm really doing this. Not in a bad way, just like a surprise, this is real life sort of thing. But what I felt like was kind of ridiculously alert and numb in the senses at the same time. However, that's possible. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel my throat throbbing. I tried controlling my breath, but it's really hard to not breathe fast when your heart's pounding like that. I reached Linda Watson's door and quietly put my ear to it. I actually kept my ear there for a really freaking long time because I wanted to make absolutely sure nobody was over. Probably 10 minutes of that and a lot of reassuring myself convinced me. I took a deep breath and forced my muscles into action. I swiftly turned the doorknob. Not locked. In one moment, I opened the door and slipped inside. I finally briefly stopped to survey the damage. Linda was bleeding ridiculously. The blood was kind of coming out in waves, in sync with her beating heart, probably. She wasn't dead, though. I ended up grabbing a big knife that was on the counter. Trying to step around the blood, I reached down and carved into the upper half of her neck. I took her laptop that was sitting on the counter. Had some recipe open for veal and mushrooms. I didn't really take the laptop to use it, I just wanted to look through it for fun. A lot of the websites were boring, like cooking websites and recipes, and game websites like Bejeweled and stuff. I eventually got to the 1 week ago section of her history. There were a bunch of searches like methods of suicide, how to tie a noose, dangerous household chemicals, carbon monoxide poisoning, like a lot of them. She was probably ready to write a book on suicide after all the research she did. So I guess Linda was contemplating suicide. The irony is actually sinking in. Maybe she couldn't find the courage to do it. If that were the case, I almost literally gave her a birthday present by killing her. That's actually really comical in a messed up way, and it leaves a weird taste in my mouth. The part I don't get is that I didn't see any of those searches up until the 1 week ago section. Nothing more recent than that. Linda Watson is dead. I kind of let the weight of that sink in, the sensation of having completely removed a life from existence. It's crazy. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, I threw the axe into a dumpster on campus, which I think is picked up every Monday, so they'll be gone by then. I ended up throwing the laptop in the dumpster with the other stuff. It's been a few hours since then, so I've had a lot of time to calmly think about everything. Like I said, it was pretty satisfying, and I'm glad I finally got around to it. I feel like I can finally cross it off my bucket list. Or like I'm tying loose ends with myself. This is probably the first and last time I'll write the name Linda Watson. It's back to living a normal college life. Except I might do some people watching every now and then, because it's definitely fun and interesting. But I'll always remember how many people there are like me. I'm sure there has to be a lot, because there is just nothing strange about me, being curious about killing someone. Sadly, it's something that most people can't exactly just talk about. So I guess I'll never know. I'm sure that anyone would just lie about it even if you asked them. But you can't help but wonder if that person in the grocery store who stares at you as you pass by might be considering what it would be like to kill you. If I could, I would tell them all about it, so they could decide for themselves. But who knows? Maybe I got lucky, and that person is you. I actually really, really hope so.